Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin. This is Life, Liberty, and Levin. I have a special guest. Tucker Carlson. It's good to see you, my friend. I'm just kidding.
The great, you know, I've been on TV 23 years.
Yes.
This is the most spectacular studio.
Isn't it great?
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
It's the #1 show on Sunday nights. You're killing it. And I have to always persuade you to do stuff, you know. There is a backstory to all this.
I owe you and a few other people the fact that I got into radio. You kept prodding me. I said,
no, annoying is more like it.
Right?
Oh, I annoyed you.
We've known each other for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm. We're best friends.
And you haven't changed at all. You haven't changed at all. I remember when you were doing a local show on WABC, and then you hit the big time. You substituted for Rush. You went into syndication. You started with Fox at the very beginning of Fox.
1996.
1996. You've been there the entire time. And now you're really the Babe Ruth of cable TV. You're the Babe Ruth of cable TV.
Let's not overstate the case.
But you are. And so as the Babe Ruth of cable TV, you're also attacked a lot by the left, I noticed. They try these boycotts every now and then. They attack you. They go after you. What is that like?
Wow, this is a great question. The most important thing to me, I don't care, not even a little bit, Mark, one bit what the left thinks of me. I just care about what's right. Like you, I have a love and a passion for this country. And I always brought up in 2016, I do it by design, it's my way. You have your gifts and your unique style. Rush has his unique style. I like to be myself. And I saw 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty. I saw the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, worst recovery since the 40s, 51% low in home ownership, a doubling of the debt. I give those numbers out regularly on purpose because those are real people, real Americans, real suffering, and they're suffering because of government failure. And this is your wheelhouse. This is what you do. And you do the history of our great founders and framers and philosophers. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it from a very practical standpoint. What works? Why does it work?
But why do you think you're attacked the way that you're attacked?
I'm attacked because for a lot of these people, it's about power. You know, we had the most unbelievable week where Pam Bondi is attacked. Think about this. Secretary Nielsen is attacked. Sarah Huckabee is attacked. Conservatives are being thrown out of restaurants. They're being followed. You have high-profile Democrats suggesting that we get confronted in gas stations, in restaurants, wherever you see. It's like a mob mentality has taken over. And the real reason for it is that in 500 days, the economy has flipped dramatically. Every economic indicator we have is off the charts. Nobody thought Donald Trump would win. Nobody thought he'd get the primary. Nobody thought he'd beat Hillary. And nobody thought he'd be this successful. And we're now in the silly season where Democrats have only one single playbook, and that is Republicans are racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, and it's one big lie. You know, let me look at one economic statistic. 14 states in the United States right now have record low unemployment. African Americans, record low unemployment. Hispanic Americans, record low unemployment. Women in the workforce, record low unemployment. The success of Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to the left in America. It is a threat to them. And so, like when he first got into office, which he never thought they'd win, they're imploding. Now that he's successful, and now that the Mueller witch hunt, which you've been very articulate about, is imploding, now that the economy is successful, nobody expected little rocket man to be returning hostages, to be dismantling nuclear test sites, to be willing to talk about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Nobody thought Donald Trump would get that when he was talking about fire and fury, and Donald Trump was talking about little rocket man, and he was saying, my button's bigger than yours and mine works. And it shows peace through strength works. It shows the president's economic philosophy works. How long have we as conservatives known that government bureaucracy is killing business? It is destroying states like Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, all around the country. We now have 4 million new jobs created in just over 500 days. So why am I attacked?
Do you think you're attacked because you give voice
Yes.
to conservatism?
Yes.
Because you're successful in giving voice to
Yes, all of the
conservatism?
above.
And because you are a defender of the president and his policies?
These policies are working.
Yes.
And to answer your question, it was a roundabout answer, Mark, directly, is that for most of my career, I go with my heart, my gut, but I'm also very connected to those people that are out of work. I bought a painting by John McNaughton, and he's a patriotic and religious painter. He's out of Salt Lake City, and it's a forgotten man. And the Forgotten Man painting is a young man on a bench, and all the presidents, and Obama got his foot on the Constitution, which you revere. And the reason that this election was about them, you know my background. I don't want to bore you.
Do you think well, that's what I want to get to. Do you think you identify with these folks
100%.
and the president's policies because of how you grew up and your background and
Yes.
how you came up and your parents? Explain.
Okay, my grandparents came here with on average, $10 in their pocket from Ireland at the turn of the last century. And they had no hopes, no dreams, except to make a better life for their children. And hence, my parents did better. And I literally believe I stand on the shoulders of those 4 grandparents. All 4 came from Ireland. And my parents, they never really had any money.
They were modest, middle-class parents.
Mark, I was delivering papers at 8, washing dishes at 12, by hand, not a machine, in a restaurant every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I became a chef, a busboy, a waiter, a bartender. Then I got into contracting. Painting, hanging wallpaper, laying tile, framing houses, fell off a roof.
Come to my house. I need some tile.
You need some work done?
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
Yes, the answer to your question is I'm a dishwasher who works hard and harder than I've ever worked, and that I believe in this country, and I believe that I've been blessed more than I deserve, and I absolutely, positively, I abhor that the fact that when America's in decline, this country can be and is the shining city on the hill, as Reagan talked about. And it is, frankly, my obligation. I now have made money. I've lived with no money, and now I have money. It's better to have money, and it's better to have opportunity, and it's better to have a growing, thriving economy, and it's also better to have peace in the world. And we don't need to be at war with everybody.
What did your parents do?
My mom was a prison guard for 25 years. My dad worked in family court probation. Most of my family was in law enforcement. It was a big deal. I've never told the story. I was appointed to the New York Police Academy when I was 19.
Really?
19 or 20. Last minute, I took this, believe it or not, I passed the psychological, passed the physical, got a 99 on the written, was appointed to the academy, and like 2 days before I said, I don't know. And I have no idea why I made that decision. Because it was a big deal in my family to be a civil servant. The 2 relatives I had that made it to the FBI, they were like a deity. That's why it hurts for me to be looking at corruption in the FBI, not to get too off track here. Look, America is supposed to be, we all want the same thing in a way. Everybody wants a nice house in a safe neighborhood. They want a decent car to drive. They want to go out to dinner once a month or every 2 weeks. They want to take their kids when they're 5 or 6 to Disney. But they're willing to work hard for that. And when government, through its burdensome regulation and its high taxes, think of where the Democrats want to run on this midterm election. This midterm election is the single biggest, most important midterm in this country's history, because they want to impeach this man. Now, they're telling people like Maxine Waters, shh, don't tell anybody. We got it. We got it. We want to impeach him. They don't have a reason to impeach him. There's no high crimes or misdemeanors.
I agree.
But what else do they want to do? They want open borders. They want to keep Obamacare. And the biggest tax cut in our history, $2,000 around on average per family, When Nancy Pelosi, a millionaire, calls crumbs, they want the crumbs back. They want to rescind those tax cuts. $2,000 in the pockets of families makes a massive difference in their daily life.
How do you explain the so-called never-Trumpers? The president has been enormously successful in foreign policy. A lot of them come out of the Bush administration, sort of the neoconservative movement in that genre. When you look at Iran, the president did exactly the right thing. When you look at Israel, recognizing Jerusalem as the capital and moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, that was the law that was bypassed by every president except this president. When you look at how he's dealt with North Korea, people may quibble over the things he has said to UN and so forth, but the fact is, he's done more with North Korea in terms of, first of all, putting the military threat out there, and then driving the dictator to the table than any previous president.
Called peace through strength.
Peace through strength. But when you look...
You worked for Reagan.
I worked for Reagan. And I supported Trump in the general election.
Yes, you did.
And I see a lot of similarities. I'm not talking about the way they speak, but there's a charisma to both of these men, and there is a principle to both of these men. And I'm concerned that there are some people who claim to be conservatives who don't recognize it, either because they've had a personal tiff with him or they're very thin-skinned about approaches and so forth and so on.
How about one other thing? They don't want to admit they're wrong.
They don't, and you've been in a fight with a lot of these people.
It's not even a fight, because the American people are winning now. Look, I'm going to make a prediction. Donald Trump is a transformational president. And I don't believe he's a nationalist, and I don't believe he's a populist. I have always remained in my entire career consistent. I am a Reagan conservative, and which you were the chief of staff for Ed Meese, one of the greatest attorney generals we ever had. And so you know Reagan's policies as I do. I can cite the economic statistics, 20 million new jobs, literally doubled revenues to the government, revenues go...
And he was hated too, attacked by the same forces.
Well, wait a minute. He was called an amiable dunce by Republican establishment figures, and voodoo economics was a Bush term.
Look, it took him 3 times to get the nomination. He was attacked all the time. The media hated him, but they hate Trump more. And my view of that is, and see if you agree, they thought Hillary was going to win. They banked on Hillary. They wanted their 3rd term of Obama, and this man wins, surprises everyone, probably surprises himself. The American people rose up and said, enough is enough. We want to try this man. And this is not just an attack from my perspective on Trump. This is an attack on the American people. And you can hear it more and more. Scarborough 100%. Talking about Trump voters as racists. Now, the Trump voters are racist, Hillary calling them deplorables. They're attacking tens of millions of Americans.
Mark, look at the struck page text. I go to Walmart and I can smell the Trump people. There's a contempt. And the left has always had this for conservatives, but there's a contempt for people. Now, okay, I'm that dishwasher, I'm that busboy, I'm that contractor. I identify with the people that make the country great.